Welcome to Conversations. I'm Muqtedar Khan, your host, and today I'm going to talk to you about Telangana. Telangana is rising. It is one of the most dynamic and one of the most prosperous states in India. It is in South India, and as you all know, I am from Hyderabad. So it gives me double pleasure to talk about the rise of Telangana. Today, I'm going to talk about three things. I'm going to first talk about the idea of paradiplomacy and how the state of Telangana is now resorting and applying and implementing this interesting way of conducting diplomacy. Paradiplomacy is not unusual. It has been going on for more than 20 years now, since the rise of global cities. What paradiplomacy really means is that diplomacy and foreign policy and foreign and international engagement by non or sub-state actors, actors which are not the central government, but those which are smaller than that. So cities as well as states and provinces have indulged in foreign policy. It is usually either seeking technological and other help from larger players such as South American states seeking help with combating environmental crises from European Union or the United Nations or even from the United States. So this idea of para-diplomacy, where cities and states become players on the global stage, we can see now that Telangana is also resorting to para-diplomacy. Many Indian states also indulge in para-diplomacy. So the first thing that I want to talk about is Telangana's para-diplomacy and Chief Minister Revant Reddy's current visit to Japan. So to give you an idea of how Telangana, the state of Telangana, the city of Hyderabad is becoming important on the global stage. The second thing that I will be doing in this conversation is I'm going to talk about the upcoming Bharat summit in Hyderabad. I'm quite delighted that Hyderabad is now basically on the intellectual and moral agenda of the world. I want to call it the Khanqah of justice. So Hyderabad is becoming the Khanqah of justice by hosting this Bharat summit whose theme is delivering global justice. And finally, I want to very briefly talk about the context of the rise of Telangana and the South in India and talk about the idea or the concept of Viksit Telangana and how it contrasts with the idea of Viksit Bharat. So those are the three things that I would like to do in these conversations. But before I get to them, if you have not already subscribed to Conversations, do subscribe to the channel, like this video, press the bell icon, and don't forget to share it with your socio-political network. So let's come down to para-diplomacy first. The Chief Minister, Revant Reddy, is currently in Japan. He's on a 1 week tour of Japan with essentially to generate investments from Japanese firms and Japanese investors in Hyderabad. And even though the tour is not over, apparently it is from the 16th of April to the 22nd of April. So we are kind of midway there. He has already raised over 10,000 crores of investments from Japanese IT firms. They are going to establish some major data centers in Hyderabad. So he's not only doing that, but he is also uh, explaining or projecting or marketing the infrastructure of Telangana, which is heavily geared towards tech services. As we move into the digital era, we move into an era that will be dominated by artificial intelligence. I think the key segregator of the haves and the have-nots will be IT competence. Do you have the knowledge to live and benefit and even protect yourself from a world that will be run by AI? Do you have the infrastructure? Do you have the manpower or the people who have the knowledge to take you forward? And it's going to be a brutal world because those who are competent in the arena of artificial intelligence could exponentially grow fast, and those who lag behind will not only be lagging behind, but the barriers to catch up will be unsurmountable for many. So it's very important that we develop and project our digital and AI infrastructure. So another thing that Chief Minister Reddy is clearly doing in Japan is projecting the infrastructure capacity of the state of Hyderabad, of the state of Telangana, and the city of Hyderabad. And it is very clear that the Japanese are listening to him. Japan can become a very important development partner for Hyderabad and for Telangana. It has tremendous resources. It can invest uh, in Hyderabad, but it also needs manpower. And so there can be a very good jugalbandi between Telangana and Japan. And I'm glad that the chief minister picked Japan and not other countries which could become geopolitically tricky. Japan is a very good friend of India and is also a Quad partner, is an important player in Asia. India, along with Japan and China, are the top three economies in Asia, and they're also in the top five economies in the world. So for that, I think that this idea of going to Japan is extraordinary. For those who may be worried about the state of Telangana and those who are critiques of the government, they might say, oh, he's stepping out of line. This is the role of the Ministry of External Affairs of India. This is something what Dr. Jaishankar should be doing and not Revant Reddy. I would like to draw their attention to a story that Dr. Jaishankar himself tells about how he met Prime Minister Modi for the first time. So when Dr. Jaishankar was India's ambassador to China, the chief minister of Gujarat at that time, Narendra Modi, visited China 3 times, and he raised a lot of money. In fact, over $400 million of investments came to Gujarat from China. So this idea of para-diplomacy is not new even to India, and so this was happening more than 15 years ago. So chief ministers from India who have a dynamic outlook have reached out to foreign countries to bring in investments, to bring in partnership, to bring in Telangana. So it's very important. So, for example, if you have investors who have only visited North India and have not visited South, they may form their opinion about the entire country. India is a great country. It's diverse in many ways, but it's also economically very diverse. And towards the end of it, I will show you the discrepancies in infrastructure and GDP of different states of India to give you an idea as to why it is important that the states take the initiative to let the world form an impression about how ready they are for investments and for partnership and for trade and for development. Now, coming to the concept and this conference on the Bharat Summit. On the 70th anniversary of the Bandung Conference, this conference that took place in Indonesia in 1955, which eventually led to the creation of the non-aligned movement, uh, uh, Hyderabad will be hosting the Bharat Summit with the theme of delivering global justice. This conference is attracting over 450 intellectuals, scholars, thought leaders, policymakers, leaders of political parties who have uh, an outlook which can be described as progressive. So, progressive thinkers, progressive policymakers, progressive parties from over 100 countries are converging to Hyderabad in order to discuss how to deliver justice globally. They will be developing ideas, common platforms, and strategies to enhance the deliverance of justice in its multiple forms. We must understand that best way to think of justice is just not that it is an important idea in moral philosophy. In fact, since the time of Plato's Republic, we have been discussing what is justice and why it is important, especially when you contrast it in the context of power and power differentials. Uh, so, so it is very important to understand that justice is a public good. that can be delivered not just by governments but also by non-profit organizations. So we're talking of justice in many forms. We're talking of criminal justice, we're talking of social justice, we're talking of economic and distributive justice, trying to combat income inequalities between countries, between societies, between classes, between tribes, between communities. We are also trying to eliminate political and cultural inequalities between genders. For example, gender justice is an important agenda on the progressive platforms. So this is an important part to understand. And the spirit of the Bharat Summit is clearly to revive the spirit of the Bandung Conference, which led to the non-aligned movement. It emerged at the time of global conflict. There was the emerging Cold War between the Soviet Union and the United States, and so eventually the Bandung Summit, in pursuit of justice, I show you the 10 points and 10 principles that shaped the Bandung Conference. They essentially led to a non-aligned movement, and the concepts that they were talking about are not very dissimilar to what we are talking about today, especially in the global south. So the global south is concerned with two things: that they want to have as much strategic autonomy as possible in this world so that they can pursue their own national interests, and which is essentially economic and socio-political development. And the second thing is to try and make sure that the world becomes a multipolar system in which many voices get an opportunity to air their concerns so that the global structure incorporates these multiple voices. And so middle powers and emerging powers and emerging markets do play a role in the emerging global order. So we are again at that juncture where there is a tremendous shift taking place in the global order. And so the Bharat Summit, by becoming a venue where progressive ideas focus on social justice, on equality, on income inequality, and the desire to promote equality, and shall we also talk about tolerance and acceptance, uh, uh, is once again reminding humanity the importance of not forgetting about justice. It's not just about domination and power. It's not just about pursuit of wealth, but we need to have a society which is livable. And and the most fundamental needs for a livable society is that we have some form of justice prevailing. These are the 10 principles of the Bandung Conference. I'm not going to read them all, but you can see them. They are about respecting fundamental human rights, about sovereignty of states, about equality of people within the states, and equality of nations in the international system. They also talk about non-intervention, the right of countries to defend themselves, the encouragement not to use force, but seek to resolve conflicts through peace, full means, and also to talk about this idea that we need to pursue a global agenda of mutual interests through cooperation. And it is important that respect for justice and international obligations is upheld. So these were the 10 principles of the Bandung Conference. So it's going to be exciting to see what comes out of the Hyderabad Bharat Summit with the theme of delivering global justice. I do hope that those of you who live in Hyderabad attend the conference as much as you can and follow it on the internet and on social media. I will, inshallah, do a couple of more shows on on the conference itself and the content and discussions that take place at that conference. So do continue to pursue conversations. And like I said, if you have not subscribed to the channel, do subscribe to the channel. Now, coming to the third and final part of it, Prime Minister Modi has clearly impressed upon all people in India and otherwise that India is determined to become a Viksit Bharat by 2047. The idea of Viksit Bharat is to become a more developed country. In very specific economic terms, it really using World Bank's characterization of low-income economies low middle income, upper middle income, and high income economies. So the goal is to become a high income economy. So right now, India is in the lower middle income economy. India's per capita, and this measure that classifies you according to these four categories is per capita, GDP per capita. And India's GDP per capita for 24-25, for the year 24 to 25 fiscal year, is projected to be 2,724. That places India very broadly in the lower half of middle income economies. So basically, the world is divided into four tiers. You could say low income economies, lower middle income, upper middle income, and higher income. So India is in the bottom second uh, category. So the idea is to go on the top category. And so India's GDP, if India's GDP per capita was around $14,000 today, then it would be what we are aiming for as Viksit Bharat for 2047. But if you look at this map, which breaks down GDP per capita by states, you will find that Telangana is the third richest and third most developed state in India. So it is one of the only few states which has per capita GDP above $5,000. So the richest state is Goa at $9,065, followed by Sikkim, which is 8,800. These are really tiny states. And Delhi is also third. It is ahead with $6,000 per the city of Delhi and the state of Delhi. That is really very tiny. So these tiny states are doing phenomenally well. But among mid-size and large states, Telangana is clearly way ahead, not only of Maharashtra as well as Gujarat. So you can see that with five projected GDP per capita of $5,110, Telangana is already in the third tier. It is not a low income economy, it is not a lower middle income. It is a higher middle income economy. It is on the same category as oil rich countries like Iraq, etc. So that is good. That is what is meant by this idea, I think, of rising Telangana. That Telangana is now the the engine of growth in South India, and it is also moving up very fast. So the point is that Viksit Telangana might get to the higher income category much faster than the rest of India. Uh, the ultimate goal is that we want all of India to be developed and high income. But kudos to Telangana for focusing on development, for having a society that is stable, focused on education, investment, technology, and innovation. So this is my third point that I wanted to show that Telangana is rising and it is showing in economic numbers clearly. So thank you for watching Conversations. I wish all the best to the organizers of the Bharat Summit. For I hope you have a wonderful and successful conference, and I hope that Hyderabad does become the hub of development of IT technology and a city that Bangalore really becomes jealous of. Thank you for watching Conversations. I'm your host, Muqtedar Khan. Take care until next time.